everybody, welcome back. And if you are new, my name is Chris. Today's video is something I've been meaning to do for almost 2 years. I started my channel almost 2 years ago with a signature scent video. I have no idea why I started my channel essentially with a signature scent video, because this was definitely one of the hardest videos for me to put together. If you are a repeat visitor, if you've been watching my video and you are somewhat familiar with fragrances, you probably know what a signature scent is. If not, let me just give you a brief explanation. A signature scent is like your perfume calling card. It is a fragrance that you can wear at any time of the year. It doesn't matter what the weather is, day, night, cold, hot, dressed up, dressed down. It is a fragrance that you associate with yourself and others associate with you. So that when somebody smells a particular fragrance and maybe you're not around, the light bulb goes off in someone's head and says, oh my gosh, that smells like Chris, because Chris always wears that fragrance. That is a signature scent, and I have been on the hunt for a signature scent basically all my life, and I've never found one. I've never found that one perfume that just represents me and is the only perfume I want to wear for the rest of my life. I've pretty much given up all hope of ever finding a signature scent, but that doesn't mean it's not fun for me to think about having a signature scent, or maybe one day I will settle down and find the one fragrance that I can't live without, and it's so amazing I don't want to wear anything else. Until that time, I will continue to talk about fragrances here on YouTube. Now, I wanted to make this a top 10, and let me tell you, this was so hard. It was so hard for me to narrow it down to 10 fragrances that could be my signature scent. If I had to pick a signature scent, it would be one of the 10 or 11 that I have chosen in the box sitting next to me. These fragrances may not be my favorite fragrances in my entire collection. They might not be my recent crushes or big loves, but they are certainly fragrances that could be my signature scent if I had to pick one. And with that, I'm just gonna dive right in. Now, before we get started, I wanna talk about 5 fragrances that didn't make the top 10, and I'm gonna tell you why. The first one is Mon Guerlain. This is the EDP Intense. This is a beautiful lavender vanilla patchouli fragrance. The only reason why it didn't make my top 10 is because it's a little dressed up. This is something that I don't think I would feel comfortable wearing when I was just really casual in the summer. This is more dressed up date night, something a little bit fancier, so it didn't make the list for that, but I could definitely see it being someone's signature scent. Similarly, I have Miss Dior. This is the pre-2017 version. I think this could easily be somebody's signature scent. For me, it's a little bit too rich and dressed up for something in the summertime or during the day, but a gorgeous scent. Similarly, Coco Noir. This to me is more dressed up, business, professional setting. This does not read summertime t-shirt and shorts. It just doesn't. And so for that reason, it didn't make the top 10. And so it's 1, 2, 3. The fourth one is a beautiful one by Clean Reserve. It's called Skin. This could have easily made the list. It's almost too sweet. And when I say sweet, I don't mean sugary sweet or vanillic sweet. It's almost too innocent to be my signature scent. I like something with a little bit of an edge. And this is a beautiful, soft, delicate, all year round fragrance that I could easily see somebody having as a signature scent. I think I need something with a little bit more punch, but a beautiful nevertheless, and a great one if you like clean fragrances. And the last one could have easily made the list. It's Angel EDT. I bumped it out of the list because my other fragrances need a little bit of attention. I love the way this smells on people. It could easily be worn year round, and I've been wearing some version of Angel for a long, long time. I love to smell it on other people, but I'm letting a couple other fragrances take center stage, and so Angel EDT is runner up. And for those of you who are new to my channel and get to the end of the video and say, hey Chris, you've got a lot of fairly expensive fragrances there. You've got some designer and some niche ones. What about some affordable picks? Well, as luck would have it, I did several fragrances over the summer talking about great fragrances for $50 or less. I will try to link some of those videos below. So if you are more interested in the more budget-friendly fragrances, I highly recommend you checking those out. Last week, I just did my top 10 of the best fragrances on a budget. But the one I would choose out of all the fragrances that I have that are really affordable. The one I would choose would be Femme Individuelle by Mont Blanc. This is a year-round fragrance. I can wear it in the cold, I can wear it in the hot, I can dress it up, dress down. It's just a perfume that really, really appeals to me. I think it got discontinued sometime last year, but it's still very, very easy to get. I just looked on Max Aroma. There are bottles on Max Aroma for $22. I actually got a backup. This is just a real pretty watery rose, lotus, patchouli perfume with a little bit of bay leaf and some pink pepper. It's a really easy wear. It's very, very pretty and I adore it. And with that, let's dive into the top 10. The first one I want to talk about is a fragrance that I never talk about, and it's really a crime because I love this fragrance. This could be a signature scent and it meets all the criteria, and it is Chloe Nomade Absolu. It doesn't look like I've used a lot of this perfume because I had the cute teeny tiny bottle before this. Went through that and then purchased another one because I loved it so much. I liked the original Chloe and Nomade, but I wasn't as much of a fan as I am of the Absolute for sure. This is one of my favorite designer perfumes because a lot of the designer fragrances, believe it or not, I like sweet perfumes. There is a sweetness in designer perfumes that doesn't always jive with my taste. In other words, that gloppy, syrupy, sweet, vanilla, orange blossom combination that is very, very popular and universally appealing because it's in a lot of very successful fragrances, just wasn't my favorite. For example, La Vie Belle, Jean Paul Gaultier Classique. It's not that I hate those fragrances, it's just that type of a sweetness and a floral combo wasn't my favorite. I've complimented others when they wore that. It just isn't my favorite. However, this fragrance has the perfect amount of sweetness because I think it's very universally appealing, but the sweetness in here is offset by a really nice fruitiness from the Mirabeau plum. This plum gives it a brightness, gives it a freshness, so it never falls into that gloppy sweetness that sometimes doesn't jive with my skin chemistry. This is a chic fragrance. That means it has a citrusy opening, a citrusy fruity opening. It has patchouli and it has an oak moss equivalent in the base. So this is a very likable chypre. There is patchouli in here, but it is I think it's a very universally appealing, a very smooth patchouli. The oak moss just gives it a little bit of, I guess, freshness is the best way I can put it. And it has a really nice, soft, woody musk in the dry down. It is a very pretty perfume. And if I were to smell anybody wearing it, I would definitely compliment them because I think it smells absolutely great. And I'm gonna start my list with Chloe Nomade Absolu. Okay, this may come as a big shocker, but BR 540 is not in this list. It doesn't mean I don't love it, and it doesn't mean I have gotten sick of it. I have both the Extrait and the OG, and sometimes the OG is a little bit too much, and the Extrait I like to wear in the colder temperatures. So a perfume that kind of covers the territory of BR 540, but is a little bit different, particularly if you smell it everywhere you go. Fortunately, where I live, I never smell this. I think I've picked up BR 540 in the community twice, and I got really excited every time I did. But a little bit more modern and a little bit different take on 540 and something that could easily be worn year-round is Trajan by Electimuss. I do love this. This one does remind me a lot of BR 540. There are a lot of similarities. However, there are differences, although small, but just enough to really create a different experience when you wear them. So instead of that sugary sweetness, like the sponge sugared sweetness that is in BR 540 that some people may not like, that sweetness is tamped down by some really nice citruses in here. So there's blood orange, there's other citruses, lemon, bergamot, so it's a little bit fresher. It also has some nice smooth aromatics, so lavender and sage, so that puts a little bit different spin on that overall scent profile. So the sweetness is a little bit lighter, it's a little bit more airy, it's fresher. There are some bright citruses, a little bit of smooth, soft aromatics. Even though it gives me the general experience of something similar to BR 540, it's not the same, and it's a little bit different spin. This one is a lot softer. I can smell BR 540 on me all day and like weeks on clothes. This one is softer. It's still very appealing. I wore this recently out of town to a birthday party for a family member, And every time someone came in for a hug, they said, wow, you smell good. What is that? It's very soft. It's not overpowering like BR540 can be. It's a little bit softer, a little bit more muted. But when I went to launder my dress, the dress that I wore like 2 weeks later, when I picked up the dress, I still got that really nice wafting of the fragrance. So I never really felt I needed it in my collection because I've gone through 2 samples until it was on like a 35% off sale at So Avant-Garde. So I picked it up then because I got a great deal, and I'm super happy that I have it so. Okay, the next one I talk about all the time, doesn't matter, could easily be my signature scent. It is Bottega Veneta, the original. This is a fragrance I got after I smelled it on some random woman in downtown Chicago. I thought she smelled great, and it is just kind of a classy year-round fragrance. This has leather oak, this is another chypre, so leather, oak moss, some brightness in the top, but I do not get leather, I get more of a suede. So I get this really nice pink pepper, suede, patchouli, oak moss concoction that is just gorgeously classy, and one of the few fragrances where people have literally tracked me down and asked me what I was wearing. Fits the bill for a signature scent. If you have been following me, you know the next fragrance I absolutely adore would be at the top of this list for a signature scent. For me, I wear it year round. It can be dressed up, dressed down, and it is my Gris Dior by Christian Dior. This is a rose, patchouli, oak moss fragrance. Every single person that has ever tried this, except one person, has loved it. It's just a beautiful, bright, uplifting, invigorating. I find it invigorating and happy. Some people think that it is more of a solemn fragrance because of the name, but I think the opening just gives it a nice little lift. It's very effervescent in the opening. This is definitely a rose prominent fragrance, so you at least have to enjoy rose, and the patchouli is present, but it's not an earthy or a dirty patchouli. It's a very clean, likable patchouli. This is another one. People have kind of tracked me down and asked what I was wearing. This makes me happy. This puts a little pep in my step, and I adore it. This next one is a fragrance that I wear to work all the time. It is kind of fancy pants. It's a Parfums de Marly, and every time I wear it, people around me just say, wow, you smell so good. What is that? It is Meliora, one of my favorite Parfums de Marly. This is the nicest fruity floral in my collection. This is like the epitome of swanky clean laundry with a elegant touch. It has these beautiful fruits, you know, there's black currant, red berries, but I mainly get like, I would say a raspberry and a watery rose, or a rose water lily kind of a thing. There's a freshness in here from cassis, or the leaves from the black currant. So there's a freshness, a slight woody touch, particularly in the dry down, but it still maintains its freshness, its loveliness. It has great performance, great lasting power, and I absolutely adore it. I do tend to wear this in the warmer months, but it absolutely could be worn in the colder months, no problem. The next one up is Gypsy Water by Byredo. This is a smooth, fresh, chic, soft, woody vanilla with some aromatic touches that I absolutely adore. I have spoken about this before, that I think this is a great gateway vanilla because it's not at all gourmand, but it's a vanilla that's very easy to like because it has a little bit of freshness, a little bit of woodiness, a little bit of cleaner, brighter notes to kind of lift it up out of that gourmandy vanilla territory. I've always thought that this might be a little bit better in the warmer climates because it is light wearing, but I think you could still wear it year round because of the different notes in here. Some of my favorite notes are in here. There's evergreens, there's pine and juniper that gives it a real nice, fresh evergreen brightness. There's this vanilla that's non-foody. It's a very natural vanilla, and there is a light, clean, clear amber with vanilla. Very soft in the dry down, and there is a nice woody base. Very subtle in the background is just a slight dusting of pepper, but it's not overwhelmingly spicy or peppery. It's just in the background, and I think it just goes along with the delicate aromatics. So I've always had trouble with the longevity, particularly in the cold months, but I just recently placed an order to Oil Perfumery for the oil version of this so that I can wear it in the winter and get it to last a little bit longer. Beautiful Gypsy Water. The next one, I don't think, if you know me, the next one is not a surprise. It is a Chanel. Chanel's are always classy, and it is Chanel Coromandel. This has all the things that I love in a single fragrance, and it is just class in a bottle. This has patchouli, this has amber, it has incense, and it has a really nice sweetness from white chocolate. It's very resinous and has a sweetness from amber and white chocolate, but it is not a gourmand fragrance. Every time I wear this, people say how good I smell. Maybe if I was in my 20s or early 30s, I wouldn't be drawn to this fragrance. There's just something a little bit more, I don't know, mature. I didn't love patchouli when I was in my 20s and early 30s, and so this might be a little too heavy on the amber patchouli for some people, but I have grown to love patchouli, and this is one of my favorite patchouli-based fragrances of all time. The next one is, I think a lot of people have as their signature scent, and it is Delina, the original. This one is not my favorite. I own all three, and I own the two flankers. I have Delina Exclusive, and I have Delina La Rosée. Exclusive is my favorite flanker to wear in the colder months because of that beautiful heavy vanilla note. It does so well in the colder months. And Delina La Rosée is my favorite to wear in the hot months. It performs so great, and it is a beautifully refreshing take on the OG. However, the OG is great and can be worn year-round, and that's why it would meet the criteria as a signature scent. It is that really lovely lychee rose combination. I used to, in the very beginning, there was a little bitterness that wasn't my favorite, but over time I've come to like, and actually I really don't pick it up as much anymore, so I get along great with the Delina. And this is another crowd pleaser. Everybody loves this when I wear it, and it could fit every situation and pretty much every weather and perform great. It would even make a fantastic bridal scent. The next fragrance that could be my signature scent, I think everybody has smelled this one. Everybody knows about it. It is Wood Sage and Sea Salt. I don't want to spend an extraordinary amount of time on it because I think at this point everybody knows what it smells like. It's super fresh and refreshing. It just has a lovely scent profile that's very universally appealing. I love it. I have worn it in the hot, in the cold, dressed up, dressed down. It does struggle in the cold, and I think most people complain that the longevity isn't great. I just bought the oil perfumery version of this also so that I can improve on the performance. And I did have someone tell me in the comments of one of my prior videos that if I got the body cream, it would be like a game changer as far as performance and longevity. So I do plan on doing that as well. This is a beautiful signature scent. This could easily be my signature scent. I think this is very hard to hate, and it's gorgeous. I have a lot of fancy fragrances in this list, I will admit. The next one is the Fancy Pants one, and I absolutely adore this fragrance because it features two of my favorite fragrance notes in a perfume, sandalwood and rice, and it does both of those to perfection. And the fragrance I'm talking about is Santal Basmati. Boy, do I absolutely love this fragrance. I used to, for 2 years, have the little travel spray. I think it was like either the 15 ml, and I babied that bottle because I didn't want to go through it, and the full size was super expensive. So I just traded up to the full size because I found this one on a discount. This one was on sale, so I got a great deal, and I'm thrilled that I can now go ham with one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. This is gorgeous if you love those two notes. This is literally sandalwood and rice done to perfection. The rice note is in here is a basmati rice note, and it is so incredibly realistic. There's something buttery about it, but it's also slightly sweet at the same time. And it combines with the most ethereal, airy, light, smooth sandalwood. There's something in here that's a little fresh. It's not citrusy fresh. It is the slightest amount of green. There's nothing listed in the notes. I think the notes list, besides rice and sandalwood, the notes list, I want to say patchouli and iris. It doesn't smell like either of those. It smells like a leaf, like a violet leaf, or some sort of subtle green freshness. It's just in the background to offset the mildly sweet notes to keep it from being like too cloying and too sweet and too heavy. So even though this is sweet, it's delicately sweetened. It has a delicate sweetness. It is very soft in my opinion. It is a soft fragrance, but it does last all day. I found that it has great longevity, even though it is on the softer side. One of my very favorite fragrances. I feel like $1,000,000. I feel fancy when I wear this. I feel like a classy lady, and I absolutely adore this. And even though it is a really fancy fragrance that I tend to wear when I'm dressed up, I could wear this in a more casual situation when I just wanted to smell great. And for the last one, I wanted to choose a fragrance that I obviously love, but I wanted to choose a fragrance for those who only wear cleanly formulated perfumes. And this is one of my favorite clean fragrances. It is by Henry Rose, and it is called Queens and Monsters. This won one of the Allure Beauty Awards for top fragrance. This is a sandalwood forward fragrance, which is one of the reasons I love it. It is sandalwood vanilla with a little touch of freshness, fresh greenness in here at the beginning, which fades, and then you get this gorgeous vanilla, sandalwood, and choco musk. I always tell people, do not judge this fragrance on the opening. Wait to the dry down. The magic happens in the dry down. When that vanilla, patchouli, and choco musk come out, it is to die for on your skin, and that choco musk adds a little bit of sweetness and some warmth. It is just really gorgeous. Fragrances that are similar to this, I would say, I think it's called Vanilla Woods. I'll put a picture up, by the 7 Virtues. They're similar, so if you have one, you probably don't need the other, but a stunning, cleanly formulated fragrance from a house that I have been utterly impressed with. So that was it. And if I haven't mentioned your signature scent or a fragrance that you think would be a great candidate, I'd love to hear about it. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.